Hey everyone, it's Jonathan here, founder of Driving Academy, and today we are talking about summer driving. Now, everyone here is waiting for the summer to come, and I know that you love summertime. However, summer comes with some good and some bad things, and today we're going to show you exactly what are the bad things to avoid, especially when it comes to summer driving as a truck driver. So the first thing you want to make yourself aware of when it comes to summertime driving as a driver is going to be the weather, of course, right? So in the summertime, what are you actually talking about? We're talking about crazy hailstorms. Sometimes that happens. Crazy storms in general, and just super hot heat wave conditions depending on what part of the country that you're in. So each one of those are going to require something different. One of the things that you definitely got to watch out for is going to be having one side of your face nice and tanned and burnt, and the other side of your face not so burnt because you're going to be close to the window. I've seen truck drivers who drive with the window down, put their arm out, and this arm is all going to be all nice and tan, and the other arm is going to be white as a ghost. So you want to make sure you're avoiding anything like that, just because it doesn't look good, plus it also can be harmful if you have too much sun. So make sure you have proper protection there. The other thing when it comes to summertime and storms can come out of nowhere. So you always want to make sure you have an extra kind of supplies of food and water inside of your truck at all times. That being said, if you do have to pull over to the side because of an emergency, it's a lot easier to kind of withstand a storm if you have the proper food and water that you need to. So make sure that you keep those supplies up inside of your truck so you have no issues there. The next thing that you do have to make a reality is going to be the extra traffic. So summertime means that kids are out of school and parents and stuff go on vacation. So depending on where you're traveling depends on how much extra vacation traffic there is. So for instance, if you're down in Florida and you're by the shore, that can be an issue, right? DC area is super packed all the time, but especially in the summertime when kids go on vacation, and different parts of the country have different hubs. So make sure that you're checking your traffic apps as you're going through, and make sure you're planning accordingly, because the last thing you want to do, at least in New Jersey, we all know Friday night and Sunday night itself, Friday night going down the shore, it takes like 2-3 hours sometimes. And then Sunday night coming back up from the shore itself, it takes a whole lot of time. So if you're a truck driver using that I-95 corridor going through New Jersey in the summertime, at those time periods, it can really mess you up if you're not really planning for it. So make sure you do understand there's beaches, there's summers, and there's more traffic. If you keep that in mind, it's going to be a lot easier for you in the summertime. Summertime also brings more orange, and by orange I mean orange cones and orange signs. Orange signs are something that looks like this, which are going to be construction signs. Now I know that you might be in a rush as a truck driver getting from point A to point B, but construction sites are something you definitely do not want to mess with. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that we're keeping everybody safe, including the construction workers. But I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, fines can double in construction sites itself. So you definitely want to make sure you're monitoring your speeds, and you want to make sure that you're always checking out for safety conditions. I've seen a bunch of trucks who just kind of don't even monitor anything, and all of a sudden they just knocked out all the cones on the construction site, and then if the cop is there, boom, it's a bad day, bad week, and potentially such a big bill that's going to be a bad month for that individual as well. So let's avoid all that and make sure you keep as much money in your pocket and keeping people safe during the construction sites. Next thing we're going to be talking about is going to be brakes. So summertime, you are probably going to be hot. Make sure that you are hydrating yourself properly. Did you know that most of Americans are probably dehydrated? Because anytime they think that they're hungry, they start eating. And most of the time, the first indications of hunger just means that you're thirsty. So before you start eating all this stuff, and it's going to make you more sluggish and more tired, especially in the heat when it comes to summertime driving, make sure you're drinking extra. Now you might be saying, John, if I drink all this stuff, I'm going to have to go to the bathroom all the time. And in the beginning, you are correct. So make sure you keep a handy Gatorade bottle next to you, because that's definitely something that's real inside the trucking world, right? Because you can't just pull over to the side every single time. But as your body gets more used to absorbing the liquid, it's going to make it a lot easier. Now, when I'm talking about drinking, I'm not talking about soda, I'm not talking about juices, I'm not talking about sugar, I'm talking about water. There's a lot of people out there that think that they're drinking a lot because they're drinking all this sugary stuff, and what's actually happening is making you feel more dehydrated because your body has to process all that sugar instead of just absorbing the water contents itself. So make sure you take care of yourself, because if you don't have your health, what do you have? And then the last thing that you should really be focusing on in the summertime is going to be making sure that your truck is maintained correctly, right? The first thing that's going to be on your mind is going to be, does my AC work? So making sure before summertime actually hits, we're actually checking out our AC compressors, making sure that everything is charged properly, because the last thing you want is for the things to get hot and all of a sudden you realize that your AC is busted. Then you're going to have to open up the window, and depending on what part of the country that you're in, you're just going to have hot air blowing into the truck from the window itself, because it can get pretty hot out there. Other things that you do have to worry about is going to be making sure that your coolant levels are always filled at the proper level, because when you idle, especially in the summertime with all that heat, it's going to make things even hotter inside the truck. And if you're not running at the proper coolant level, that means your truck can overheat and explode, and that means a lot more money has to come out of your pocket, so we want to avoid that. And then things like tires. So make sure tire pressure is good. Summertime does increase a lot more blowouts. If the tire gets too hot, the pressure is going to start to inflate way too much, and then it's going to make it even worse for you. But the interesting thing about blowouts itself, most blowouts actually come from underinflated tires. Now, you might be thinking, how is that even possible? Well, think about it. When your tire is underinflated, that means it's going to be a little bit flat. And when all that weight of the truck is on top of the tire, it's going to be touching the surface of the ground much more, which means now that the ground is hotter and you're going to be turning that tire very fast, friction is going to start to apply, which means heat happens. What happens in heat? Things expand, and things are going to get to expanding to the point where it's just going to pop on you, and it's not going to be a good day. So making sure that you have proper tire pressure, which is 90 to 100 PSI on all of your tires, and making sure we're having enough tread and everything on the tires itself. Because last thing you want to do is be changing a tire in that dead summer heat, or just kind of getting stuck on the side of the road in that dead summer heat is not fun either. So those are the maintenance things that you have to worry about when it comes to summer driving. And if you handle all those things, it's going to be pretty easy. Now, I know that sounded kind of complicated, but if you want help on how to make sure that we teach you exactly how to inspect the vehicle properly for winter, summer, spring, or fall, one of the things that you have to do in order to get your CDL license is actually pass your road test. Now, the road test is going to be split into 3 different parts. First part is about inspecting the truck. Second part is all about parking the truck 6 different ways. And third part is actually driving the truck on the road itself. So when it comes to the inspection portion, we're going to show you everything that you have to inspect as a professional driver to make sure that you stay on the road as long as possible, so you can make as much money as possible that you do want to make. If you are interested in going to the best truck driving school in the whole country, come to our school, Driving Academy. Check out our website, cdldrivingacademy.com. We have locations that we're planning to open up nationwide, so check out our website. Once new locations are online, we'll update the website itself. If there's no locations near you yet, check out our Linden facility. They're definitely going to be able to help you out, because we can help students out from nationwide. We've helped students out from Hawaii, Alaska, California, and everything in between, just to name a few. So, one more time, check out our website, cdldrivingacademy.com, and we're here to help you out. Thanks. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. If you want to get your CDL license, you know where to go. Check out our website, cdldrivingacademy.com, right over there. And if you like this video, you'll definitely like this video right over here. So make sure you check that out. But before anything else, make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you soon.